So I think very early on, I looked at music as just another way to help tell stories. But as far as like early musical influences, you know, it was probably my older sister's vinyl collection. Luckily, she had good taste. You'd go to the record store and it was like, how am I going to spend my money? Is it going to be an Eric B. and Rakim album, or is it going to be a KRS-One album? Two musical movements came out of Brooklyn that ended up dominating the world. First there was disco in the mid-'70s, and then hip-hop, of course, in the '80s. It was a really exciting time for music in my youth. I've always looked at composers as a major contributor to the process, or on, you know, equal footing with the DP and the production designer. Since I started in film school, there was a program for DPs, there was a program for production designers, there was a program for editors. There was no program for composers, but I always seeked out a composer partner to come on and to work with me. So all my student films, I definitely went through the process of talking to the composer that I found about what the story was, and then having them interpret that story into music. And I looked for working with collaborators who really got that. It was a tool to sort of push the narrative forward. Clint and I, it was sort of happenstance that we met. When we were working on Pi, my first film, we talked about him cutting a track for the kind of theme of Pi. He's always been involved, you know, reading the script at the beginning and hearing the early pitches and the ideas, so it's always best if you have a talented composer who's really looking at the images and creating stuff off of the images. The big theme from Requiem for a Dream, it was after he read the script, he put together a bunch of tracks that he was inspired, and at a certain point in the process, I went down to see him, and we were struggling with what type of music we could use for the film. And we ended up then mining that original inspiration and using a lot of that different stuff in the final product. A lot of inspiration comes out of listening to original voices and music. First of all, you can get a lot more purity of emotion, because there's a lot less handprints in someone writing a song. And even as a filmmaker, you just sort of have to follow your instinct about, you know, how to finish something and how to polish it and go, okay, this is done. If you're trying to, you know, push it into something, it just never becomes that. It just sort of has to become what it is.